welcome back once again to another episode of Taku Katsu, the anime review podcast where we watch the first episodes of anime old and new and give you the scoop of what we like about it, what we don't like, and if we'll watch it again. We are in the second part of a dual trilogy where we watch an anime. Yeah. Oh, yep. And then we watch what it's derivative of it. Last week we watched... What did we watch last week?
Great Teacher Onizuka, GTO.
Yes. And this week we followed it up with the Gokusen. It has a similar premise. A teacher with a background on becoming somewhat of a teacher becomes a teacher of a bunch of delinquents and using the skills they've learned on the streets or wherever, they tame the class. And that's basically the plot of the Gokusen and Great Teacher Onizuka. So, I am, as always, joined by my co-host, Patrick.
I am your Gokusen for today.
And Cori.
I argue that, actually, just like anybody in Japan says in anime, anyone can be my sensei. So, everyone can be a teacher.
That's true. That's where it comes from as well. The sun.
Mm-hmm. And I will be the kohai.
Okay, so, can I just say that why is it in the first episode of both of these shows, there's a really horny other teacher? What is going on with that?
Hey, yes. that's what I call a good derivative, right? It's on T on that marking. I didn't realize it was that pervy as well. I mean, it goes a little bit, you know?
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
Had a pervy principal.
Yes.
Pervy on the teachers. Pervy other teacher. In almost the exact same way. But let's start with what we like about it. Cori, let's start with you.
Alright, so I wrote 0 notes. So everything is coming from the top of my head.
Freestyling.
Yes. Join the dark side.
I thought that the animation was good. Not great, but it was definitely good for the time. I think this comes out like 3 or 4 years 5 years after Onizuka originally aired in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And the animation was not like amazingly better, but it was clearly better. Like maybe they used like a light touch of CGI or something, because it looked hand drawn, but not as rough is not the right word, but not as I'd say rough, not as rough as Onizuka by comparison. So I felt like that was cool. That was nice. I thought the characterization of the female teacher was super interesting, because if there's one thing that I've always thought about when it comes to like teaching people, it's like, how do you deal with just insanely disruptive people? Because you know, yelling is an option. Usually doesn't work, especially for teenagers. Physical violence has its negatives. And so just seeing her deal with it is like, interesting choices. Interesting. And it's just kind of like pure confidence. Like, so much so that she's just going to act scared for no reason other than to fit the... So, I liked how at the end of by the end of the second episode, there was just more of that, but like she turned it up. I'm like, oh, surprising. Okay, she took that real well, right? Like her picture on the like magazine. It's like, that was great. So, it wasn't like the funniest show, but it was like, I get it, kind of funny. So it was all right. It was all right.
What about you, Patrick? What do you like about Gokusen?
Yeah, I remember watching this show. I'm pretty sure it's one of the shows I've actually finished, and I actually watched the live action version of this as well because I just enjoyed it. But the anime is a little bit more raunchier, I say, because of the first episode they show like some cartoon movies in the magazine and on the chalkboard, and that horny teacher is just not her, but her teacher partner. The partner.
The other female teacher they hired.
Right. But yeah, I really love the Yakuza family. Like it feels like every one of those characters are just gonna be like the cast of them. It's just so funny.
Absolutely.
It seems kind of cliche too, right? It feels like this is like the cliche of the respectable Yakuza who it just kind of like hits them beats, and the voice acting for them are just like stereotypical gangster Yakuza voices. And like, yep, I recognize that voice from anywhere. If you hear that guy
when they get into that dialect, and she gets into it too sometimes.
Mm-hmm. But like
so
that's just so fun, and it's just another in comparison because like she's a female, right? So it's like, oh, you could do it as a guy and it would be similar, but then because she's a lady, like there's so much like I feel like a little bit more at stake with her, for the story, I guess. But yeah, the Yakuza family is just like the best. Like, and then later on in episodes, everyone like they pitch in to help, and it's just like you could see hits all of those beats. And also, I can't believe they showed a gun. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. They were pulling out guns, swords. I think there's a gun in the next episode. It definitely feels more intentionally gangster than Onizuka.
Right. It's like the family. But the Onizuka is like just the gangster, kind of like his background, like the hoodlums. But this is like a pure central to the Yakuza family.
Onizuka was a literal gangster. He just was a tough gangster who went to college. She is a mafia boss. She's a yakuza. So like, you got your local street gang that no one's heard of, and then you have like the Crips. Like, she is a Crip. He's like the East Side, whatever's that nobody knows about unless you live in that very specific neighborhood.
I like, because there's a part where she's talking about with her mobster family that, like, she's becoming a teacher, and that she can do both. She can be a teacher and bear the crest of the family. And first of all, the grandpa is smoking hot. Like, I'm just saying. He is hot grandpa.
Look. Yes. I agree. And I am not into grandpas at all. I was like, that is a handsome dad.
He don't look like a grandpa.
Man, it was funny because he actually looked like the dad, but older.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if, like, the mom and dad were also part of the, like, mafia family, or if she just happened to grow up with the grandpa who was the head of the family. But
I get the impression that the dad was her the dad was the grandpa's son, and then the mother married the father, and then they were probably, and I guess Patrick would know the actual answer, and then they, like, didn't engage in the activity and then died.
Right. I don't remember the whole story, but obviously tragic backstory because both of her parents are not in the picture, for at least what we assume to see.
But just something about that scene where she's like, I can do both. And she transfers and they're like, Ojo! Just so good. I also like when she is in her, I'm going to call it Ojo state, and her accent changes to like the rougher talking is just so good. And then she was like, they were like, timid, timid. And they were like, what? And it's interesting to hear what they consider curses in Japan based on how they say things.
I'm sure everyone was watching the Japanese dub, right? And then when you see the translations, you're like, that's not, well, I guess it is. Because there's a bunch of curse words. Like, yeah, I guess that could be the curse word.
Yeah.
Explain, because I don't know shit.
It's like, when they say bitch or like asshole, like, you can say 10 man, like, like for lots of things, like,
10 man.
It's like you, darn you. It's just, it's very, I guess the translation is very, what is that word? It's very loose and, they take a lot of liberties when they translate it,
But it's a beyond rude way of referring to someone. To be like, Teme. Like, you are... I wouldn't say it's, like, the most disrespectful, but it's probably right up there with, like, just being like, if you're going to refer to someone with Teme, it's like, fighting words.
It's fighting words, yeah. Literally fighting words.
It's like you're in an argument with some other male and you call them a boy. Oh, little boy. Like, you're just insulting them in such a way that is not, you didn't say anything else, but you're definitely like, you're less than.
That's a good comparison for English, right? Because, like,
yes.
boy is not a curse word at all, but when you say someone, like, ooh.
Yeah. It's who and how. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Some people you call you're done.
Check your tones. Son. Check the tones.
Right.
So what do you guys not like about Gokusen? We'll start with Patrick.
Yes, I think Cori mentioned it. He said that and I agree as well. It isn't as comedic and slapsticky. I think GTO does. I think it's because GTO is more exaggerated with the faces and the sounds, I guess, and it pushes the edge. Let's say GTO pushes the edge a little bit more. This show is kind of like just teasing with, and it's not as dramatic. Let's say, I mean, as of now, but it plays it kind of safe and just. It feels like it's pulling some punches. It could go a little bit more, and it doesn't. It seems kind of basic. Let's say that's another way of saying it. But it's. I think it's enjoyable for sure. But as far as like getting you there, it was kind of like not necessarily boring, but it's just like okay, I get what it's trying to do. That and I guess the music as well. I know we don't really talk about music a lot, but I didn't really. That didn't really seem to stick out. Although I do like the voice actors, the music itself was not as engaging for me.
Are you talking about the opening and the ending?
That too. I mean, I guess the ending is very particular because it is like an old school, like it seems like a drama, tale. I forgot what they call it, like the story music.
It's a gottery for sure.
Yeah, like a theater. It's like a theater. Yeah, theater. It's like a theater song. Like that's fine, but I guess in general, the music itself, like the OST, possibly, it's nothing really stuck out for me in that sense.
It's very like old school, like yakuza club. They're just playing, crooning to old hits.
Yeah.
Cori, what didn't you like about Gokusen?
Patrick said it right. It was very safe. For a show, it was very safe. Everything was as predictable as I could have imagined it being, other than she's a Yakuza's granddaughter. Like, if she popped out, if she took off her jacket and she had a whole sleeve of tattoos, I'd be like, yep. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like, I think some of the stuff they did was cool looking. Mm-hmm. But it was like, this is super safe. And granted, I don't watch a lot of stuff with Yakuza characters, but the stuff I've watched, GTO or whatever, I've seen this before in parts. It's just all together. The school looks like every Japanese high school I've ever seen in an anime ever.
Those thugs.
And I mean, that's not... Seriously, every single character in that class was a stereotype of a disaffected youth. Like every Japanese teenage punk was represented in a not exaggerated way, but just they were there. You had the big heavy kid who's like not the boss. Then you have the like super cool kind of handsome guy. He's the boss, but he's quiet and he's observant and he knows. It's like, man, there needed to be a random girl hitting on the teacher for this to be different. Like, that would have made this show like not even interesting, but I would have been like, oh, that's it. Like, it was all boys school. All the boys were like hooting and hollering about the other female teacher and her chest and all that. And I'm just like, all right, I'm bored. I'm not bored, but it's boring. It was not engaging. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, all right, cool. Tell me how this is going to end. But I was never like, I definitely want to know what the net... Like, Patrick, is this more than 24 episodes?
It's only 13, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't feel like it's that much.
It's a short one, yeah.
It's just a kind of boom, boom, done. We did our thing. Well, Great Teacher, here's what makes it different. Great Teacher Onizuka, I think we said it last time, or I said it last time. It's got heart.
Mm-hmm.
This show is just like, here's my gimmick.
Yeah. It's like, of course she's like struggling, but it's not like the backstory to her, I guess. But as the first episode as well, it doesn't seem like she's clearly the underdog, but like I'm rooting for her, but I was rooting for GTO, Great Teacher Onizuka, way more. Like there's more of a passion in his character, it seems like. But
because with her, she, like, you can tell from the get-go, like, okay, in GTO, he's clearly, like, out of his league a little bit. And he only wins them over outside of class and then thinks he's going to get fired, right? And he's like, I'm screwed. And then, I can't remember if it was second episode. He, like, straight up's like, I'm never going to be a teacher. I'm going to go be a truck driver. And he literally steals the truck he's training in, turns around and drives for like 12 hours, breaks through like he does crazy stuff. Like it's interesting. He's passionate. He's motivated. It's a whole thing. This character's like, I got yakuza on my back. I don't care. I'm not intimidated. I lived in the streets. You don't scare me, children. Like I don't. Yeah. Like there's nothing. It's like stereotypical yakuza. Like they don't look. How you make this story just slightly better? Make her grandfather and all the yakuza try to sabotage her being a good teacher.
That would be like get some ensemble action in the classroom.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 of them are like fake students, but they're clearly 21 Jump Streeting it. Like they're just super old yakuza trying to pretend to be high school students with all these other bad kids, and like that would be so much more interesting. This is just like, you know, we know how this is going to go. She can freaking catch, what was it, a marble?
Yeah.
A pachinko ball.
Yeah, a pachinko ball. Like, without look, just, boop. Like, that was cool feat. It was an interesting story.
Yeah, here's one of the weird things I just realized. Like she's like too confident, too powerful as a character. And for me, I'm like, she has a cutesy quirkiness, right, when she goes back and forth, and that's fine. But like, as a character, she's like Ultra Instinct Goku. We're like, okay, there's nowhere to go from here. Like, you know, she's going to win every doubt. I don't remember like if there are other weird things, but like I feel like I don't need to worry about her. Like, she's gonna win every battle because she's just totally a badass, you know.
She literally like knocked out one of her students so she could beat up the other students.
The other student. I did like that.
And it's like, wait. How does knocking out your student help you when you beat up the other students? They're just gonna say, the teacher, the new one, beat me up. Like, because that was where Onizuka made sense. Like, he was like, I'm gonna fail. And then they just all of a sudden were like, we love you, you're great. She just beat him up.
On that point, I think the pride of the boys, for one, to say that they got beat by a teacher, period.
Yeah.
And then two, that it was a female teacher, I think that would keep them silent. They would be like, they would rather say the dog did it, or like they did it to themselves. I think that there's a sense of pride, and you can't show like weakness, because as far as everyone else knows, this teacher is just a ditzy new female teacher.
Which I would have... So, okay, to talk about Trigun for a minute. Here's what's cool about Vash the Stampede. He spends most of the show, at least the first half, looking like he doesn't know what he's doing to everyone around him. Mm-hmm. She did that, but then stopped. Like, oh, I dropped the ball. Oh, what's going on? Oh, you grabbed me. Oh, he's not asleep? Never mind. Bam! All right, bam! Beat you up. Out. It's like, come on. This is too quick.
It's a bit like she's already at the height of her development. Like, she's confident in herself and her abilities. She doesn't waver in how to be a teacher. She's like, she could be a good teacher, and she's a good yakuza. Like, she doesn't have any doubt in herself that we're seeing in this first episode.
She's a perfect character.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of the downfall of a lot of anime, where you have like that perfect.
Yeah.
You need to have something to
Flaws.
cheer them on for.
Flaws. Like, why is Superman popular but not the most popular? Because, for most of the part, he has no flaws. So when you talk about a character like Saitama, who is like unbeatable in One Punch Man, his flaws are he's bored. His flaws is that he's like socially kind of inept. And the rest of the world is so crazy that they don't notice that he's actually impossibly strong.
Mm-hmm.
And only the characters who are observant notice that Saitama is incredibly strong. And everybody else is just like, no, he doesn't fit. And that's what really makes One Punch Man super good, is because it's a lot of like subverting expectations while giving you the set expectations a different way. Like, Genos is otherwise the main character of One Punch Man. Yes. And he's cool, and he looks awesome, and he gets upgrades. He's Goku or Gohan, but he gets his body destroyed constantly, which is also cool and awesome, because he's not actually the main character.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
He's trying to get stronger like Saitama, because he's one of the few people that knows how strong he is. In Gokusen, only the family really knows. Oh, Shin, the redheaded student, he knows. Who reminded me of Karma, actually, from Assassination Classroom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, same archetype. Mm-hmm.
They had to have used this character as a mold for Karma.
Yeah, she's just too powerful. She's just like, there's no doubt, like, again, for her, she's like, I don't see anything causing her trouble. Like, she's stacked. She got everything. She got the Yakuza family, and she can fight. Like, it's a done deal.
Her biggest problem is, I guess, not blowing her cover. But in Onizuka, his weakness was his gangster background, and it turned out to be his biggest strength, because that was giving him the heart and the ability to like connect with students. In this, she's not. Well, her weakness is still that she's from this Yakuza background, but she's using it in a different way. It's not connecting her with the students yet, and it's not connecting her with us.
Right.
I would say.
No, I was gonna say like, for Great Teacher Onizuka, I could feel that he is struggling like every time. Like, he may think he knows what he's doing, but he really doesn't know what he's doing. But I feel like for Kumiko and Gokusen, she has a plan of attack, even though she doesn't know what she's doing. Like, she's in control, and like, that's kind of like somewhat boring in a sense, because I don't feel like anything was going to go wrong with her. But for Great Teacher Onizuka, I expect everything to go into a shit show whenever he's involved. And that might also be his personality as well as a character, with his, like, his bumbliness, and like, he's just more of a carefree attitude, versus Kumiko was like 100% super serious in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, the main characters also contrast. Like, they're not the same.
Yeah, like, she's a full-blown actual teacher. He was just a college student that wanted to get with other high school students.
Look, 40 years old with a 6-year-old bride. That's all I'm saying.
For 40 and 16.
Yo, yeah, right. You see, I heard.
What I heard would have been a big crime.
No, me too. I heard that too.
No, but that's what he was saying, is 40-year-old with a 6-year-old bride.
Mm-hmm. For me, what I didn't quite like was, first of all, the animation. Parts of it looked like it had Vaseline smeared on like the camera.
Uh-huh. I think that might have been early CG. I think that might have been it.
Oh man, I would have done anything to not have those weird, excessively blurry scenes, and just I didn't have a problem with the ecchi. It did feel like they could have gone further, but it also felt like this was the first episode, and they were just kind of like testing the waters to be like, right. Oh, I'm going to take a picture up her skirt. Like, that was out and out, like.
I mean, that was a little funny. but like it was like it was so tame. It was tame. Like you said, they could have gone further, but they just kind of were like, "Oh, we're disappointed," and I'm like, "Okay." And then she didn't do anything, so it was just like, "Okay." And then with the board where they had her face on
naked body.
Yeah, and it's like she was happy about it. That was kind of like, oh, that's kind of fun. That she was excited about it. Like that was an unusual. That was a choice, and I appreciate the choice.
To me, I never would have guessed this came out years after Onizuka. I've actually thought this came out before. Just watching it, because early anime has that where certain things are just uncensored and they just throw it in there, like topless nudity and excessive opie, things like that, where it's like they don't worry about censorship so much as how far can we go with this new medium. So maybe they go further in later episodes, but it definitely felt like it was an older anime just from how explicit they were to start with.
Right. Yeah, because they just
I don't know. It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, especially by our standards, but
I mean, I'm thinking when you say older anime where they went all the way, I'm thinking OVAs from the 80s.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. For example, first episode Ranma, I was like, oh yeah,
Ninja Scroll.
There. Oh, Ninja
Scroll. That's what I'm thinking.
Dark City, whatever that one city is.
Yep.
All of those, the 2000s.
I mean, shoot. Metropolis wasn't that bad, but even Metropolis kind of pushed buttons. Akira pushed buttons.
Yep.
There's just older, or 80s, especially OVAs, were really, they got away with stuff, is basically what happened.
Yes.
They were able to get away. This is not that. This is you can do this. Right? Because Ranma,
they were trying.
Ranma was one of those where, because Japan has different standards than American media, especially, Ranma having nipples was not the biggest thing that they were worried about. So they're like, whatever. Now, obviously, they've made it so that that's less likely to happen. It's more of the obscure, they don't have nipples, they're just kind of smooth, like a Barbie doll. That's kind of the standard way to show nudity without showing nudity. Especially the 90s and the 2000s. But now, they seem not to be worried about that.
I mean,
as much.
I think now it's they still hide it, unless it's the show that is just that, right? Otherwise, it's just clouds and smoke screens.
Look, when anime and hentai combine, you get interspecies reviewers.
But that's clearly made for that. It's
right. But that happens. That happens. So that may have been the high mark, but there's a lot just trying to get right back to it. And
also,
they call it
the
anime.
Principle.
Say again?
I just didn't like the principle.
Oh, yeah.
Way too horny to exist.
It was a pretty horny principle, that's true.
Just nose bleeding and snot running.
Oh, jeez.
Did not like the principle. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I've seen the bloody nose trope in My Hero Academia. If it wasn't Manada, it was for sure. It had to have been Manada.
Maybe My Hero, yeah. My Hero, I think, of all the shows, pulls from everything.
But I think, like Cori said, the frequency is very, very rare now. Not as much, because I feel like it used to be in everything. but it feels like it's not.
I mean, now, maybe this is because I don't watch harem anime or nearly as much, but like falling on a girl's boobs just straight up, or, you know, if they want to go all the way, like into her crotch, don't see that as much either. But again, I'm not watching that stuff nearly as much as I used to, so, you know, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I didn't watch any more of World End Harem, so who knows? That probably happened every episode.
That wasn't even good.
Yeah, they if I remember correctly, they they delayed the second episode for like 4 months.
Right.
Wow.
So, you know, that show. But yeah, it's just old tropes that you have to go and watch old shows to see it again because they just don't do it anymore. You know, and I definitely see too many girls named Sakura with pink hair.
Oh, of course.
That's a classic.
That's like namesake city. With all of that said, first, I think I'm gonna take a guess on how we all liked them, how we receptioned this.
How we received it.
That's the word.
We got there.
We have our lukewarm reception. There we go for the show because after seeing Great Teacher Onizuka, when you watch something that almost blatantly is what you just watched, but not as unique,
it's worse. Yeah,
or
it's just
changed.
Worse. Just straight up. It's not even like bad. It's just obviously worse.
Yeah. Like, I'll just check. Are you guys going to watch more of this?
No.
I will not. No Katsus for this one.
Yeah, I don't think I will either. And I would like to like it because I like the premise of this yakuza teacher trying to embrace both sides of this life she wants, but I've watched GTO. I don't need to watch this when it's kind of boring. I don't know.
Yeah, the thing with animes that are derivative is like there's like different levels to like there's a genre, right? So like we're kind of showing GTO compared to this one. They're both kind of in the same genre as, you know, but you're like, at the end of the day, it depends on who would I recommend this to, right? It's like maybe I don't want to recommend GTO to someone because it's a little bit too risky. But if you want to do like maybe the PG-13 version of it, you would show them the Gokusen, which is like, oh yeah, I think you might like this show. It's, you know, like,
do you know any 12-year-olds and they should watch GTO but not yet?
No.
Watch Gokusen.
Even though, you know, that's when you come upon it, you come upon it, man. Like that's just fate at that point.
I don't know. I like it. I do like it. I just wish I liked it more.
Yeah,
it's the show that if you would have watched it first and watched GTO, you would have been like, yeah, this is a great show. Wow, this is even better. But now it's like, this is a great show. Oh, this is not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you know what? Maybe I will watch more of it. It's 13 episodes, just to see. Plus, they made TV dramas out of it, like live actions.
I would recommend the live action because they don't go as risque as it. The anime does make it more, you know, because it's anime. They could
but
probably
like,
push the limits.
As far as risque shows go, this is like still a 4.
I'd say this is a 6.
A 6 based on
okay.
They drew a naked woman.
They drew lines to make a woman, and the boobs weren't actually like there were nipples. It was just like the shape. So it's more like Sailor Moon.
I think
there were nipples.
I think the more that I'm thinking about it, I think the more I'm like, I think I did see a different pigmentation.
Okay, fine.
It's probably a 6.
But it's not. It's not higher than 5.
No,
it's not. This is Ranma level. This is Ranma level at worst, and Ranma is a 5. Especially if it's only 11 or 13 episodes. Oh, and we didn't even talk about the weird talking dog.
Oh yeah, I think that was the dog's thoughts.
Yeah,
I didn't like the dog so much. It was
So I was looking at the comments on this from the website I watched it on, because you can't watch it anywhere because it's probably boring and no one cares. And everybody's like, the dog? What the heck is with the dog? Mm-hmm. And they're like, read the manga. There's no dog or something like that. The dog is weird.
The dog is
weird.
The dog is like Choo Choo from Utena. Like it doesn't really serve a purpose. It's just like
he's like
just
a mascot.
Yeah, for no reason.
But the dog is a yakuza dog. He's like Tracksuit Mafia, the dog.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the dog was a person.
Oh.
Somehow. Like, Ranma style.
Patrick?
It's inspired from Ranma style.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick's like, no spoilers. But no, I don't. Yeah.
No, I don't get it either.
I think it's super tame. I think the drawing, like, what was the show that we watched before that you were saying was a 6? GTO, duh. We just talked about it. So GTO had a underage character purposely taken off her clothes so that she could frame the teacher for trying to have sex with her.
Yep.
This show had a kid on the floor with a camera try to take a picture up the skirt of the teacher, failed. And then later on, they drew like lines on a board and maybe put her head on a fully naked.
There were nipples.
Okay, fine. But that's I feel like that. Mm-hmm.
But you have the students catcalling the teacher, being like, "Your ass is so sexy." Like, it's just stuff like
tame.
That where
that's tame, though, guys. I mean, that's
the obsession.
But
just the frequency.
Ecchi level, I feel like the ecchi level, the intent is for you to see the children as being really immature assholes.
Yeah.
While in Onizuka, he is predator of children, at least sort of kind of for a minute. That's worse.
Right.
So, I don't know. I still feel like a 5 is about as high as it'll ever get, unless, like, if there's a swimsuit episode where the other teacher who's like, I'd sleep with 2 or 3 of the guys in my class. All right. You're aggressive. But yeah, I think a 5 is about where it is. Because I think, I don't know. Anyway.
No, I don't think
First episode, I think 5 is understandable. I still say Gokusen and GTO, realistically, they feel like 4s to me. But
yeah, I think the first episode as well, I don't think for both shows may not necessarily push that limit any further. I don't think it's going to get that bad from what I remember from Gokusen. And what I remember from GTO, I don't think it goes that far. The first episode was the shock value of like, oh yeah, they're gonna go there because that's the easy catch out for the setting, let's say. And they do it for Gokusen for the other teacher, the other female teacher who's perv as well.
She was like 2-3 students she would sleep with gladly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's just,
she the gym teacher? What was she up to? Goodness gracious.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say. But I like... It's almost like, why go so... Not hard, like in the first episode, but why go so extreme if you're not going to go more extreme later on? So it's kind of like, I started at the base level expecting them to go up higher, but I guess the shock value...
Wait a minute.
Why they
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Somewhat familiar.
You can't say that after what you said about episode 2. You can't do that.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Because Editor, rewind the time.
Let's go back to that show we don't talk about anymore because Vicky says it's not a 9.
Yeah, the first episode can't be that bad because they already went that far that it will never go that far than that, right? That's the argument. It's not gonna go that far.
Exactly. I kind of now expect that if the first episode shows me something wild, it should get wilder as the season goes on.
Editor, insert here.
just saying, like,
note to myself. Alexa, take a note. Remind me.
That was my whole thing before. Like, this is where we are, and in that show, they didn't just like hint; they went hard by episode 2.
Yes.
Episode 1 was like, okay. Episode 2 was like, oh no. This one is like, episode 1 was like, ha, pervs.
Yeah.
Right.
That's basically all it is.
So for it to go higher, all they have to do is just be pervs some more. But like now, anyway, I don't know, and especially as a 12 episode series, if this was trying to go hard ecchi, it would have had to try harder. I think it's definitely going for GTO, but what if it was a lady?
Yes.
Right. I mean, that's kind of the main derivative of it. It's just like, yeah, it's GTO. A more confident GTO, but the setting is pretty spot on. Literally, the spot on.
I would have loved if it was. Oh shoot, I forgot her name. Haru. No, that's not her name.
Haruka?
No. Old girl from Fruits Basket's mom.
Oh. Don't know Fruits Basket.
Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, her mother was in a gang as a teenager, and then she met main characters. I can't remember her name. Met her dad. Dad died. Then she died. The main character was doing Fruits Basket stuff. But that would have been cool. Like, her character, the mother of the main character in Fruits Basket,
mm-hmm.
She would have fit better because she was flawed, but she was nice, but she was a fighter, but she was tough. She was in the streets.
Right.
While this character's like, I'm legitimized because I'm from a yakuza family and I live with yakuza, and it's like, prove it.
And she's always wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, she doesn't. I think another part to it is like, I think they want you to think of her as an underdog, but I don't really think she's an underdog at all. Like,
yeah, she's
Yeah.
established
Superwoman in a sense.
Yeah. She's retired Superman.
There you go.
He's like, I've been through it all, and I still am here, so you can't stop me, children.
Mm-hmm. Like, there's nothing keeping her from... I mean, other than this feud with the vice principal trying to catch her out, but... I mean, there's nothing big honing in that's gonna blow her, like, cover wide open.
Yeah.
I just wish I like it, I just wish I liked it more and saw it first.
That's how I feel about Dungeon Boonies.
Poor Dungeon Boonies.
That was a good show.
Yeah. Still watched 6 episodes. Have not moved. Maybe not even 6. I just think about it like, yeah, nope.
I feel that way about the Spider Show.
I did watch all that.
Show, Wilds with the 2 different worlds. I'm like, this seems interesting. 3D world.
I watched it, and when they come out with season 2, I'll probably watch that. But you know what? Idaten is better.
I just know I need to watch so many episodes of so many good anime.
Just watch Idaten.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
That too.
Mushoku
Demon Slayer.
Tensei.
That too. Demon Slayer.
No.
Nope.
What? Really?
I have to catch up.
We know it's good. We don't need to watch
it. Look. There's a blonde boy. He might have legs. You might like that.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay. Demon Slayer, I'll put that on the list.
Yeah.
That's true. For me too. I'll for the same reason.
I think probably the one I wanted to watch the most is To Your Infinity.
Oh, that's true. To Your Eternity. With the
To Your Eternity. I'm like, To Your Infinity. And beyond. Let me just sell you on Demon Slayer really quick. The manga is already done.
Oh, it's finished.
So there's a definite end. So you can just, like, whenever you feel like it, just go. Whenever they finish the anime and just watch the first season, the movie, the second season, however many more seasons there are, and then you'll be done. It'll be like a good 52 episodes, maybe. I don't know. Probably not 52. Probably 108 or something. But anyway. Okay, so let's... here's our truncated B-side, I think. I don't think we have a lot to talk about. I think we spent a good 40-plus minutes on Gokusen. Okay. All right, I'm just going to throw out random topics. Okay, why do all high schools in Japan look the same in anime, except for in maybe the really fancy high schools, but then they all look like the same ones from Orin High School or Assassin's High School or whatever. They're either like super rich or the same high school.
I would figure that's because they literally are similarly made high schools. Like, very uniform, very, like,
they just had one contractor for, like, the last 50 years, and they just built they built all of the Japanese high schools post-World War II, and they're like, we're done!
I think I agree.
We're out!
Once they've, here's the truth. Here's the truth. Once they realized that they all had to wear uniforms, they're like, it has to be the exact same thing. You know, those sailor suits, those jackets, like, everyone has that exact same thing, you know, with the buttons. Like, literally every high school student wears that, and their schools
it
fit
occurs to me
for that.
The population is dropping, so they wouldn't actually want to build new high schools.
That too.
And it's been dropping for, 20 or 30 years? So they actually wouldn't want to build more high schools because there's less people, less kids.
You know, that math checks out. I think we solved it.
Thank you for watching.
Question, Corey. Next question, Corey.
Oh, shit.
But no, that actually makes sense.
Okay.
Like, that actually makes sense.
I do have another one. Why are all, and we touched on this like 16,000 times, but why are all portrayals of Yakuza in anime, like, they're the most respectful to other members of the Yakuza, especially their specific boss. Like, there's almost never a betrayal of the Yakuza boss, and if there is, it's like super dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's like he's the brother or like a cousin family member that betrays him, like, and that's like the ultimate betrayal. Like, it's never really like it's like the best friend or stuff. Like, but it's never like some random thug, like, because they know their place in the food chain.
It's like deeper than family. Probably because, not to generalize, but it just seems like Japanese people are very respectful of each other, and so
racist.
It's not racist. Like, they literally have different ways of talking to people. Like, there's formal and informal, and then super formal.
Yeah.
And like,
she's right.
It just seems like when you get to the Yakuza, like, all of that culture and, like, what's the word? It starts with a P. Protocol. When you get all of that protocol in, like, a structure like that, it just lends itself to being very, like, respectful and formal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it, like, I might be talking on my butt, but, like, it also really reminds me of, like, the samurai the ideology is, like, the honor and the code system. Like, this is just for the head yakuza. Like, we do this for this person who, and then if they do take care of everyone, then you're fine with that. But once, you know, that if the head person is doing everything right, then, like, there's no reason to, like, betray or ruin the order. And that's like old school engraved samurai honor system, living by the code.
So that reminds me of what I brought up last time, and I couldn't remember the anime, and I text y'all later, and I spelled it wrong anyway, but it was Muv-Luv Alternative. So Muv-Luv Alternative came out. Yeah. If you say you've never heard that, I swear to God. You need to go listen to our podcast when Muv-Luv was out, because I kept just saying it randomly in the middle of the podcast with no responses, because you don't listen to me. And I don't appreciate it. No, but in all seriousness, though,
he's not wrong.
I'm not wrong. But Muv-Luv. Okay, let me just talk about Muv-Luv for a real quick hot second. Muv-Luv was a series of visual novels, which I believe at the end became Arrow Gay or always Arrow Gay or something. But very, very popular, but very strange, because the first one was like, you're in a high school and you just do high school stuff. And then, in the middle of it, a new game happens, and you're in the second part of Muv-Luv, where it's like an alternate universe, where stuff is different. And then the third one, you're in another alternate universe, where you are in giant mecha battle against aliens that are going to kill everybody, and you have to escape off the planet, and you have to go back in time and fix it a second time. That's Muv-Luv, okay? So
it's choose your own adventures.
No. It's a visual novel, so no, you don't get to choose shit. I hate visual
novels. Choose your own adventure.
No, you don't.
It's
Shut up,
choosing
Patrick.
romance.
Look, visual novels are boring because they suck. I'm done. No, okay. In all honesty, yes, you can choose like little stuff, but visual novels are so damn slow. I can't. The reading is, just give me a book. Stop it. All right.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to tangent, but hot take: choose your own adventure novels are basically American Goosebumps choose adventure novels.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Hot take over. Back to you, Cori.
Anyway, so Love, because I had mentioned that in the pre-World War II run up in Japan. I get all this from Extra History, by the way. So watch Extra History; it's great times. Anyway, so in the run up to World War II, the Japanese had a whole lot going on, and they did not have what I would call, based on my understanding, control of their people in the military at all. Because you had a lot of hardliners who really wanted to take over Manchuria and take over Korea and expand their empire and all this other stuff. And so what I mentioned was that there was this whole bit about people committing essentially crimes, but saying it was for their country or for their emperor. And then that was deemed acceptable excuse to commit certain crimes and not be removed or at least thoroughly punished in the military. It's basically like if, to be mildly political, if a party member from your country committed a minor offense that everyone was offended by who didn't like them, and then the people who did support them were like, it's okay, they meant well. Except, people died. That was the level of understanding that I had about the Japanese military pre-World War II. So in Love, that's what happens. Dude's like, we're going to kidnap the princess or empress. We're going to kill civilians if we need to. We're going to provoke everyone else because we want to have Japan be ruled by the Japanese, even though the whole world is getting their ass kicked by these intergalactic aliens that are hard to kill. That's honestly, Love was like, this is what the story's about. And then that happened, is like, this is now what the story's about. And then the story was over. And I'm like, I kind of like this show. Yeah. So Love almost made me want to read visual novels. And then I said, never mind, I hate visual novels.
It's a good choice. Good choice.
Yeah. And that's one of the better ones. But yeah, so I think that, this huge tangent was to say that I think there is a cultural expectation, which I've mentioned before, of having this sort of implicit respect for authority and everything else in Japanese culture. And that the yakuza take it maybe a little bit from samurai culture, a little bit from just Japanese culture at large. And it becomes like, you do what I say or I cut your finger off. You do what I say or I cut your other finger off. You do what I say or cut the rest of your body parts off. You get tattoos to show that you're serious. And whatever you do it for all of us. Collectivism, right? But taken to the criminal enterprise level. And then it's romanticized, I think, because in real life, criminals don't care. Criminals don't care as much as you'd want them to. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be criminals. It gets romanticized because there are probably historical examples of someone being like, I'm the boss, I will sacrifice myself for all of my subordinates. But in real life, real people are not that selfless that often. And if you have one person like that, you got 1,000 people who'll be like, I wouldn't do that.
Right. No, I think GTO and Gokusen are the clear romanticization of what a yakuza or a gang leader is, or how they should be, I guess. If shonen is for boys to be like, I want to be the hero, like My Hero Academia, like strive for your goals, save your friends, fight for your friends, get powerful and all that stuff, But the yakuza version is Gokusen and GTO, where like, yes, treat your students, even though they're not your family, they're your students, then they are your responsibility. So you go and defeat the other thugs who are messing with them, And so that's kind of like that sense.
Let me say this, Vicky. Before I say anything, Vicky, how much have you watched of My Hero?
I'm still halfway through this newest season.
Okay,
so I haven't
so
finished
you did see the part where the dude with the mask.
Yeah.
Okay. Overhaul.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me say it like this: Shigaraki, his people follow him like he's the boss, and he follows One for All like he's the boss, like a crime boss, like a yakuza, but not a yakuza. Overhaul is part of a yakuza, but he kills the yakuza boss without anyone knowing, because he's like, but I have to protect us and make us more powerful. Like,
yeah.
It's even when it's not yakuza, it's yakuza. You know what I mean? And so I feel like the criminal element in Japan has two representations. You have the creepers who are trying to rape every girl character you've ever seen, because that always happens in anime. Hey, you want to come hang out with us? Like, every freaking anime has one time where two dudes bump into a girl and they're like trying to take her away from somebody. Anyway, I'm a
Even
little
in
mad
Gokusen.
about that. Right.
Yeah.
Every time.
That's
Like,
true.
it's like,
I forgot about that scene.
come on, anime. Come on. But, or they're Yakuza. It's like street level thugs or they're freaking Yakuza. It's only those. And I get it, simplicity, and it's, it's an easy trope to tell, but man, I need to go look on TV tropes for like Yakuza boss love or something, because it is a thing, and it is a romanticized thing like cowboys and the Wild West, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have that strong feelings about it, but I got feelings.
It's kind of like the Batman, where like he has all this power and like he could be doing bad things, but he's just like the vigilante. Just you hope he's doing good. I mean, if you imagine, it's like when you have a lot of power into one being, it's like you would want to romanticize them helping the weak, like a yakuza, if anything, if that's the comparison we're making, or it could just be like, well, let's just join in the crime, I guess.
I just wonder how to go on a tangent with the Batman.
Go for
no
it.
spoilers, because it's just Batman in general.
Yeah.
But who's making Batman stuff? Like, who is he, like, commissioning or, like, hiring to... Because he's not doing it himself. Alfred's not doing it. Where's he getting all this stuff?
Aliens.
And why is no one telling secrets? Because it's all under his house.
I thought he does make it. No, you don't know.
I
don't know.
I like their sort of explanation of that in the Christopher Nolan movies. They literally do not explain how a Batcave is being built and nobody tells. But I do like how they tried to explain that away. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, he's got too much crap. Like, a custom car, one of them, someone knows who made that, and it wasn't Bruce Wayne.
The suit? He's not a seamstress. Like,
look, Alfred is very competent.
I could see Alfred making that. Especially the Batman's Alfred. Love, is it Andy?
Shoot. Serkis.
Yes, Andy Serkis. Great guy. But, yeah. Forgot why I went on that tangent, but I was just like, who's making his stuff?
Yakuza. Who's making Batman stuff?
Pretty much. I have a weird train of thought. But going back to Overhaul real quick. Yeah. It was funny in My Hero Academia how the Yakuza are treated as an endangered species because everyone's got heroes and there's villains. And Overhaul is like, we gotta become like villains to be big. And so he like threw out all the good Yakuza stuff.
All of the history and the formal protocols and all the stuff that makes Yakuza great. Mm-hmm. And it's so weird because I know that the history of Yakuza in Japan is complicated and like they have legal avenues at which they can run businesses. And to my understanding, they're at least semi-criminal but semi-legal. And it's like a really weird quasi enterprise that the yakuza run, and yeah, it's super special.
Yeah, it's just if you have the choice between the yakuza and the mafia, I would choose the yakuza.
I guess I'm not really sure I like that at all.
But if you had to choose, but Cori, you have to choose.
If yakuza knife to my neck, yeah, I'm gonna.
You don't want to get a whole body piece of a dragon,
man. Random question. What is that knife called that the dude pulled out of like a bamboo sheath? Does that have a name that you know, either of you?
I thought that was a sword, like just a.
No, it was like a dagger.
If it's like the short
you'll
one,
see that. Yeah.
Like the short dagger. Yeah.
I don't think it was a wakizashi though. That's more of a short sword for a samurai. But this is more like the little swords that women will carry in anime. Like when they're going to go murder somebody, they always pull out a tiny little sword because it's for ladies.
The thing is, I almost think that tiny sword that women and he pulled out is the one that they used to commit seppuku. Like
I was going to say something like that too.
That could be.
Yeah.
But that's usually the, I don't know, whatever.
Well, I figure if a woman's carrying it, if she's like violated or whatever, afterwards she can commit seppuku because she's lost her value.
Look, she better use that knife to violate somebody. Anyway.
So that's the old see, that's the romanticizing ways of like the that kind of tradition or just that culture. Like, oh, yeah, always I have to keep your honor and stuff like that.
Yes. Do not commit seppuku. Disclaimer.
Please. Yep. Look. There's been a ridiculous amount of BetterHelp ads lately, so, find a therapist. If you have insurance, great. If you don't, talk to the therapist and tell them you don't have insurance so they can try and figure something out. Therapy is not the cheapest thing, but it's not the most expensive thing, and figure it out. I highly recommend it if you really need some help. There are a lot of options. You just got to look for it and then go for it and see what happens. But anyway, I can be serious about suicide all day long, but we're talking about a show that we didn't like that much. And the Yakuza. Oh, yeah. Yakuza, Batman, sexual assaults, just all the fun topics.
The usual.
They all relate to each other. They all relate in a certain way. I mean, it's
how does Batman fit into that?
I mean, crime and
crime.
You saw the movie.
I did. It's a good movie. Did you all see Doctor Strange?
If he had all that money, he could have just paid to increase crime prevention or give it to the neighborhoods for better stuff. Just all sorts of...
Look, I just want to talk about plot points in the Batman. But, we're just going to talk about nothing now. Did you see Doctor Strange?
I have not.
Me neither. Awesome. We can't talk about it. We can't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
Much. It was enjoyable. I say watch it.
Oh, I want to watch it.
Anybody listening to this, if you haven't watched it, go buy the DVD, I guess, because it's fun. Good ride.
Yeah, I hear it's great. Well, this has been the week where we talk about the Gokusen. Next week in our series, we've got Patrick. What are we watching next week?
We're going to choose Trigun. Is that right, Cori? Is that the one? We're going to be
Trigun!
trying to watch that one. A good classic.
A great classic. I would say of all of the, I'm going to call them Toonami classics, it is probably the one that holds up the best every time. Like, Cowboy Bebop, enjoyable, but sometimes it has some episodes where it kind of dips a little bit, but pretty good. Mm-hmm. I would say that Outlaw Star, Acquired Taste.
I would agree.
I rewatched it about 2 years ago. I was like, you know what? If I didn't know I liked the show, I might not watch this show. Tenshi Muyo, same thing.
Nope.
Probably worse. Worse.
Probably lower on that too.
Hard pass.
Dragon Ball Z. If you like Dragon Ball, just let it go. And then Love Hina. That's like the other one. And that one's again. No, that's not for everybody. Sailor Moon. You know if you like Sailor Moon. It's like Dragon Ball, but for ladies pretty much. It's basically Lady Dragon Ball. Let's go. I think that was... Oh, Gundam Wing. Don't watch it. It's not as good as you remember if you watched it originally. And if you didn't watch it originally, you're not gonna like it now. But yeah.
I remember seeing the Big O all the time.
Big O. Okay. Big O. See, look. Apparently, I think I know stuff. All right. Big O is Batman with robots.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's confusing as hell. Like, you think you know what's going on, and then you realize you have no idea what's going on. And then you think you know what's going on a couple episodes later, and you're like, nope, I still don't know what's going on. And then the show's over. And then they're like, there's a season 2. And you're like, you sure? Big O is confusing. It's got an Alfred. It's got a Batman. It's got a Dorothy.
And a big robot.
And a big robot. Called Big O.
Not a euphemism at all.
Not at all.
No.
But, yeah. Dorothy is a conundrum in a show that has no answers.
Yes. From what I remember.
Batman. Anime Batman. And not like the fun anime Batman where he's a ninja. Just
Ninja Batman.
Big O. Just Big O. I would say, watch Big O. But I would not say you're going to necessarily like it. But I'd still say watch it. It is an experience that a connoisseur of mid to late 90s anime should watch. But, you don't have to.
If you like mecha. I don't.
It's such a weird mecha, too. Like, I wouldn't even call it a mecha.
Yeah,
it's
a weird one.
It's a Batman mecha show.
It was mecha enough that I was just like... Ugh.
Pass.
Yeah. Not a hard pass, but like...
A soft pass?
Yeah, soft pass.
A lob?
I didn't...
A little underhand lob? Like, hey!
Yeah. Just a sky pop.
Ooh, a sky pop. Mm-hmm. All right, so, but yes, Trigun. Trigun is probably the best anime to come out of Toonami. A lot of good anime were on Toonami, but it's really good. And it starts off really good. Like, it has a fantastic first episode. I think it slows down.
Mm-hmm.
True. I think it slows down a little bit, but only enough for you to kind of be like, what's going on? And then the next episode's like, oh, shit. So yeah, I rewatched Trigun probably around the same time I rewatched Outlaw Star and Escaflowne. Good times. Trigun is really good. I kind of wish... Arky, can I ask one more stupid question that we don't need to answer?
Yes.
Fan casting for a live-action Trigun.
Fan casting?
I haven't seen Trigun really, so I don't know all the main players.
All you need to know is there's a blonde dude, and then there's a bunch of side characters who are related, somehow connected to the blonde dude. Okay, well, since Vicky has no idea, Patrick?
No. I have no idea.
Save it for...
Right. Save it for next time. Okay. I would... God, because there was that point in time where they thought they were going to try and get Keanu Reeves to do, like, live-action Cowboy Bebop.
Ooh.
Oh,
And so... And I was like, you know what? I think I'd enjoy that. And they never did it, obviously. But Trigun... Okay, I don't know if you could do a movie of Trigun for, like, 1,000 reasons. But a live action, maybe not Netflix, maybe Netflix, whatever, I don't know. But a live action Trigun. I think you could do it because it doesn't need a lot of CG or special effects, but it does need it to be kind of like desert landscape and futuristic stuff, kind of. Because it's on a desert planet. It's on a desert planet, but it's on a desert foreign planet and all this other backstory that has to do with being in outer space. It's just... Now I do want to watch Trigun. Jesus.
Well, the backlog of live action adaptions of anime. So
I know.
Yeah.
Look, I can't think of one off the top of my head that was actually pretty good, but there have been plenty that have been at least not terrible.
The Black Butler musicals are amazing. So, next week, we will watch Trigun. And then as the originator, and then we'll have a follow-up episode of a...
Do we want to talk about what the second one will be, or wait until next week?
We'll wait till next week.
We'll wait.
Oh, man.
We'll let people guess what the derivative of
I
it
dare you to guess it, because if I haven't mentioned it already...
Just remember, it's got to be terrible.
I mean, it's got to be as good as Gokusen or worse.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. Because Gokusen was not that bad.
No.
Just...
Yeah, because the derivative of Trigun is also like a 12 or 13 episode series, while Trigun, again, is like, what, 36 something? It's at least 24, but it doesn't feel like 24. It feels longer than that.
Yeah. Well, I have been your host, Vicky, your Gokusen,
Patrick,
and Cori, the principal, but not
What?
the ecchi
Oh, man. Why you gotta do that? Why you gotta do that?
The vice. How about the vice principal?
Oh,
Man.
he's just regulating, just judging everyone.
Yeah.
Man.
that sounds pretty good.
I'm gonna be the dog.
Yeah. Be the dog with the weird
weird
inside voice.
bulldog talking to people, beating up children, allegedly, just
Taking the rat for...
super weird dog. Like, unnecessarily weird dog.
Yeah. But as always, thank you for listening to our podcast. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, compliments, reach out to us on Taku Katsu Podcast at gmail.com, Taku Katsu Podcast on Podbean. We're also on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and you can find us on YouTube, Taku Katsu Podcast, or tweet us at 0takukatsu at Twitter. So, yeah.
Leave comments, questions, give us any kind of feedback. If we get one feedback, we get so excited. We throw a party, we dance a little bit, then we read it, then we think about deep personal thoughts. But no one ever does that, Zane. And so we don't get to party very often. So, anybody, if you hear this one 20 years from now, still do it. Because we're still doing it for 20 years from now. I'll be like, oh shit, I found a comment from 2022. I don't know why.
It'll be like Live Journal.
Yeah.
We'll hold on to those comments.
Yes. Give us your comments. They sustain us.
Yes. Well, till next time. Thank you. Bye.
See you, Space Cowboy.
Hey.
Matane.